It's happened to everyone. You're going about your day, minding your own business, when suddenly you come across something you really weren't supposed to see. Maybe it was an accidentally displayed nude photograph on somebody's phone, or even suspicious government activity they did their very best to hide. Fortunately for us, stories like this are rarely forgotten. And one inquisitive Redditor called Make Your Marks opened up Pandora's box when he decided to ask the online community, what was something you saw you were definitely not supposed to see? In many of these cases, the events people unintentionally witnessed held the potential to scar them for life, cost them their job, or worse. Information is power after all. The thread now contains hundreds of accounts of things people weren't supposed to see or hear, so I decided to find the most intriguing and alarming stories on offer. Here they are. Lemon drizzle cake. Kind of unsurprisingly, a lot of things on this list take place in bathrooms. It's a private place where people tend to do things they don't want others to see. Personally, I like to respect people's privacy, but there are certain behaviors which really cross the line. Like this example from Reddit user Veronix. When Veronix entered a public bathroom one day, he saw a strange man standing in the middle of the room who appeared to be eating something. On closer inspection, it turned out that the man was eating a urinal cake. That's right, one of those weird soap-like things you pee on. According to Veronix, the strange man just stared back at him and made really awkward eye contact as he shoved the remainder of the cake into his mouth. Normally, I'd wholeheartedly agree with that famous phrase, let them eat cake, but in this guy's case, not so much. Full body scan. People really love to abuse their office machinery. The internet is full of clips of people smashing up computers, printers, and scanners when they fail to function properly. And I'll admit, it can be pretty satisfying to watch. But when it comes to scanners in particular, some people tend to get a little frisky. Reddit user SEX went round to a coworker's house to help fix their scanner, which hadn't been working since her daughter used it a few days ago. SEX attempted to load the software, but it was failing to connect. So she did a quick power cycle and the software eventually loaded. The software then defaulted to the recent scan screen, and much to this Redditor's surprise, the most recent image was a detailed scan of, you guessed it, female genitalia. Whether it was the coworkers or her daughters, SEX was unable to say. But luckily, she managed to get rid of the scan before anyone saw what she was looking at. SEX earned $20 for her troubles, but the graphic image was forever burned into her brain. Daddy issues. With all their terrible jokes, receding hairlines, and inappropriate comments, dads can be pretty embarrassing. None so embarrassing, however, is the father of Reddit user Eclectus Infectus, who simply cannot keep his browsing history to himself. At the theater, while they were waiting for a play to begin, this Redditor's father handed her his iPad, suggesting she read something to pass the time. When his daughter opened up the Reader app, she saw the last book he'd been reading, which was titled, How to Deal with a Sexless Marriage. Her dad snatched the iPad back, and they never spoke about it again. On another occasion, Eclectus' father handed her his phone and asked her to look something up for him. They were at a family gathering and everybody was in the living room. When she opened up his browser app, the last page open was porn. The video started autoplaying and everyone heard the sounds of moaning. She tried to close the tab, but it didn't work, and she ended up looking at the video for way too long. Panicking, she threw the phone back at her dad and told him to close the tab himself. One quick-witted Redditor commented, well, on the plus side, at least now you know how your dad deals with his sexless marriage. Someone really needs to show this guy how to use incognito mode. Total stealth. Redditor Octavius Octavian has risked the power of the security services to tell us how he saw something no one should be able to see. It was 1988, and Octavius, fresh out of school, had a job with the US Air Force at an airbase in the UK. In the middle of the night, at about 2 a.m., the runway lights came on for about 30 seconds, and he heard something landing. Then, some hangar doors opened, and bright light pierced the darkness. That's when I see it, he wrote. A small black triangular aircraft rolled straight into that hangar, and within seconds, the doors closed behind it. His immediate thought was, well, I definitely wasn't supposed to have seen that. A few weeks later, the first pictures of the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter were released, and amongst all the excitement, Octavius thought to himself, I already knew about that. I'm not sure whether to believe his story, because as we all know,
it's stealth. You cannot see it. Is that correct?
The Garden of Edith. While we may sometimes think of our senior citizens as grumpy, dried-up old farts, the truth is, they need to have fun too. And I'm not just talking about the odd game of Honeymoon Bridge. Reddit user Senor Scorcho found this out the hard way when he went to visit his grandparents. On arriving at their home, he found the front door locked, so he decided to head round the back to see what was going on. He went into the backyard and found Grandma and Grandpa doing the gardening, totally naked. Not only should this Redditor not have seen this, admittedly quite romantic display, I doubt he'll be able to unsee it either. Pillow talk. Culture shock can be pretty, well, shocking if you're unacquainted with the customs practiced by people of other nationalities. Often, people bring parts of their culture with them when they travel, though I'm not sure how widespread this particular practice is in the land of the Kiwis. I'll let user FapNapFap, yes, that's his real name, explain what I'm talking about. Back when I was a teenager, we hosted a New Zealander at our house for a couple weeks. Guy gets to our place after the flight, and about 10 minutes later, I'm walking around my house to see where he's at. The door to his room is partially open, and the dude is laying face down on the bed, humping the ever-loving out of a pillow. I backed away slowly, like Homer when he saw Apu cheating on his wife. I felt bad for the pillow. I think the less I say about this one, the better. Accidental library hack. Personally, I'd have thought working in a library would be pretty boring. Too quiet, not much going on, and a whole lot of books. Well, that's what Redditor Nymega Gunner was expecting, until he mistakenly hacked into the staff email database. This is how he tells it. I was working part-time at a library for a school subject. One day, they made me enter the data for new books into the library's computer system. As I worked, I did something, don't know what, that made Windows Outlook display onto the PC screen, along with some emails from the librarian's director to my teacher and to the other librarians. The emails basically said that I was really good at my job and very hardworking, and that the collaboration would be very beneficial both for me and them. Well, I wasn't supposed to read those messages, but they made me feel really happy. Bet you weren't expecting that wholesome tale. Love cleans up. When Reddit poster Crappity used to work nights at a manufacturing plant, he would often go to the bathroom and sit in stall just to contemplate his life. I think that's called slacking, Crappity. After a few minutes alone in the bathroom, he heard a janitor come in and start cleaning. Minutes later, another male janitor came in to help. They spoke to each other in Spanish for a couple of moments, then, to his surprise, started passionately making out. Crappity didn't know what to do, so he sat there for a few awkward minutes while the heavy kissing continued. Unable to take it anymore, Crappity decided to make some noises to let the janitors know they were not alone. The janitors immediately stopped their short-lived romance, started giggling, then ran out of the bathroom together, leaving all their cleaning stuff behind. Crappity claims he never saw either of those janitors again, so I think it's fair to say they made a clean getaway. Rubber-flavored chewing gum. Ah, the innocence of childhood. Those days were a lot simpler, weren't they? Well, not so simple for Reddit user Vivacy when his 6-year-old cousin offered him chewing gum. Thinking nothing of it, he said yes, and the next thing she knew, the kid had brought back 2 varieties of flavored condom, strawberry and banana, from her mother's purse. Vivacy, shocked and embarrassed at the sight of a 6-year-old girl offering him condoms, took them and put them back into his aunt's purse. He told his cousin that they should probably ask before taking things from her mom's bag. The kid said okay and grabbed the bag, taking it into the kitchen where the entire family was sitting together. Vivacy ran after his cousin but wasn't quick enough to stop her. The kid then said, "Mom, can we have some gum?" And her mother said that she didn't have any. The 6-year-old then said, "Yes you do, look," and whipped out the condom saying, "I'll have the strawberry one please." Vivacy was met with horrified looks and has never felt comfortable using flavored condoms since. Dad, are we poor? I don't know about you, but my dad was pretty tight with money when we were growing up. His penny-pinching antics were nothing, however, compared to the father of Reddit user Legit Muffins. After being kicked out of his parents' house with nothing but his car and the money in his pocket, Legit Muffins realized he needed to go home and get his birth certificate and social security number for job purposes. His dad wouldn't let him in, so Legit got in through an unlocked door when nobody was home, found the key to his father's safe, where the family documents were kept, and opened it. While retrieving his documents, he found something else. Bank receipts for a home equity loan of $160,000, signed by his father and co-signed in an unknown hand. Legit had grown up thinking his family was poor and had worked since the age of 15 to pay for his own school, car, food, and medical bills. He told his mother about the loan and she was stunned, having known nothing about it. The whole situation led to a nasty divorce. As it turned out, his father had been living a totally secret life, financially and romantically. He'd been hiding money and spending it on everything but his wife and 3 kids, and even had expensive clothes and a flashy BMW he kept in storage to swap into on his way to work. He also had at least 3 kids with 3 other women and various girlfriends. It had been going on for 20 years. It turned out the guy was making $300,000 a year and had $750,000 in savings. Legit Muffins and his family no longer talked to the father. Turns out he got married to the woman who'd co-signed the home equity loan, the one that finally blew the lid off his secret. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is a story. Anyway, I hope we've all learned a valuable lesson from this video, and that is, well, sometimes you can't avoid seeing things you weren't supposed to, I guess. And that's life. Have you ever seen anything you weren't supposed to? Let me know your stories in the comments down below, and you never know, we may feature it in the next video. Thanks for watching.